For the first time in what feels like forever, the New York Giants are in a position that every NFL team wants to be in. They've got more quality players than they can possibly keep. That means cutdown day, when the roster shrinks from 90 to 53, is going to hurt because some very good football players will be wearing another team's colors by the time the regular season kicks off. This isn't just about trimming the fat anymore. This is about deciding which pieces truly fit the vision that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll have been building over the past couple of years. The Giants are no longer in a place where they're desperately trying to fill holes. Instead, they're in the enviable but brutal position of having to say goodbye to talented contributors simply because the numbers game forces their hand. Let's be clear, this is a sign of progress. You don't have tough cuts unless you finally built some real depth. And Giants fans should take that as proof that this rebuild is finally turning into a roster with substance. But it also makes for some emotional debates: which players deserve those final spots, and which guys might be just a little too far down the pecking order. So today, we're diving deep into the Giants roster bubble. 5 names in particular stand out as true question marks, players who could either carve out meaningful roles this season or find themselves looking for new opportunities elsewhere. And I'll tell you right now, some of these decisions could shape the Giants' identity in 2025. Let's start in the backfield with a player who has absolutely electrified the preseason: Dante Turbo Miller. Dante Turbo Miller, the wild card running back Miller, has been one of the most fascinating preseason stories for Big Blue. He's not just another body in the backfield. He brings something unique, something the Giants frankly don't have anywhere else on the roster: game-breaking acceleration. When Miller gets the ball in space, he looks like he's been shot out of a cannon. In just 2 preseason games, he's hauled in 11 catches for 123 yards. That's not just checkdowns padding the stat sheet. Those are chain-moving, momentum-shifting plays. 11 of his touches have resulted in first downs, which is the most in the entire NFL during preseason action. That matters, because in the NFL, first downs are lifelines. They keep drives alive, they wear down defenses, and they give your playmakers more chances to create. Miller has shown he can deliver exactly that. What's even more impressive is that Miller isn't just a finesse player. Sure, he's got the quicks to make a linebacker look foolish in the open field, but he's not afraid of lowering his pads and grinding out the ugly yards either. We saw it against the Jets. He caught a ball underneath. 2 defenders immediately converged, and instead of going down, he put both hands on the ball, lowered his shoulder, and muscled forward for a fresh set of downs. That's toughness you can build a roll around. So the real question isn't whether Miller belongs, it's whether the Giants can afford the roster math. Do they keep 3 running backs or 4? Saquon Barkley's successor Tracy is locked in. Veteran Devin Singletary isn't going anywhere. The rookie Scadaboo has earned his place too. That leaves Miller fighting for that 4th slot. And here's where it gets interesting. Miller has already proven he can help on special teams. He downed a punt inside the 5, made a tackle in coverage, and has shown the kind of hustle that coaches demand from depth players. That versatility could very well push him over the edge and secure him a spot. It's not often that a preseason standout legitimately changes roster construction, but Miller might be that guy. If the Giants want explosiveness in their backfield rotation and another weapon for Jackson Dart to lean on, Dante Turbo Miller should absolutely make this team. Jalin Hyatt, is he really in danger? Now, let's move to wide receiver, because this position might be the most chaotic of them all. When word leaked that Jalin Hyatt's roster status wasn't guaranteed, Giants Nation collectively raised an eyebrow. Hyatt, The speedy wideout taken to stretch the field and add a deep threat has had a roller coaster start to his Giants career. Some beat reporters have whispered that he hasn't done enough in training camp. Others have floated the possibility of a trade. But let's be real here. Hyatt still brings a skill set that no one else in this receiver group replicates. Speed kills in the NFL, and Hyatt can still flat out fly. We saw glimpses in the preseason when he hauled in a 22-yard strike from Russell Wilson, creating separation that very few corners can match. The Giants' wide receiver depth chart after the top guys is wide open. Wide receiver 5 and 6 could go to any number of hungry players. Amir Smith-Marset, Montrell Washington, Bo Collins, Juice Wells, Gunnar Olszewski. All of them have had flashes. All of them have made their case. But if we're honest, none of them have Hyatt's ceiling. The Giants' decision here may come down to consistency versus potential. Hyatt hasn't been perfect. Route running precision and durability remain concerns. But are you really cutting or trading away a former third-round pick with elite speed in a league that lives on explosive plays? I'd be shocked. Still, Hyatt's seat isn't as comfortable as it once was. And that's exactly what roster competition should look like. He's being pushed, and now it's on him to respond. Moving on, let's talk about one of the most intriguing position groups, the tight ends. Tight ends, too many to keep? At first glance, the Giants' tight end room looks deep, maybe too deep. Theo Johnson is a lock. Chris Manhertz likely sticks as the blocking specialist. But then you've got Greg Dulcich, who caught a touchdown from Jackson Dart and continues to flash receiving ability. You've got Thomas Fidone, who showed off his athleticism with a one-handed grab and looks like a mismatch waiting to happen. And of course, you've got Daniel Bellinger, who has been steady, if not spectacular. The Giants probably won't keep 4 tight ends. That means 1 or 2 familiar names could be gone. And here's the problem. Each of these guys brings something valuable. Bellinger has been a daboll favorite, but Dulcich and Fidone arguably have more upside as dynamic pass catchers. This is the exact type of good problem that championship rosters run into. Do you keep the steady veteran, or do you gamble on a younger player who might give you more juice in the passing game? If I'm Brian Daboll, I'm keeping the guy who can win one-on-one in the red zone and stretch the seams. Because with Darren Waller gone, the Giants need someone to scare defenses at tight end. Dulcich and Fidone both fit that description. Bellinger may end up being the odd man out, even if that's not the most popular decision. Offensive line. The Joshua Ezeudu question. Every Giants fan knows that the offensive line has been the Achilles heel of this franchise for years. So anytime a lineman starts to play well, you pay attention. Joshua Ezeudu, the former third-round pick, has done exactly that this preseason. He's looked sharp, especially at left guard, grading out with strong pass protection and holding his own against tough competition. In fact, he's allowed just 1 pressure across 82 pass blocking snaps. That's the kind of performance you can't ignore. But here's the problem. The depth chart is crowded. Andrew Thomas, Evan Neal, and the veterans like Ben Bredeson and John Runyon are locked in. Aaron Stinney has played well enough to make the roster too. That means someone, maybe even Ezeudu, could be on the chopping block. The Giants could justify keeping him as a swing lineman, someone who can play both guard and tackle in a pinch. But if numbers force a cut, it would sting to see a young, improving lineman walk. This is where front office philosophy comes into play. Do you keep the vets who provide short-term stability, or the younger guys who could still develop into long-term pieces? For a team still building, I'd lean toward youth. And Ezeudu has shown he's worth the patience. Before we dive into the defense and the most difficult decision of all, let me take a quick pause to say this. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the Giants roster battles, make sure you hit subscribe to the channel, like this video, and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. We're going to be breaking down every major roster move, every cut, every signing, and every headline leading up to the regular season. Trust me, if you're a Giants fan, this is the place to be. All right, let's get back to it. The defensive line battle and final decisions. Raheem Nunez-Roches. The business decision, the last major roster bubble we need to talk about, is on the defensive line. Raheem Nunez-Roches. This one is brutal because it's not really about performance. Nacho has been a solid veteran presence. He's tough against the run. He brings energy to the locker room, and he's exactly the type of role player you want in your rotation. But football is a business, and cutting Nunez-Roches would save the Giants nearly $3.6 million in cap space. For a team right up against the salary cap, that's the kind of money that could be used to sign a player cut by another team, or to give Schoen flexibility when injuries inevitably hit mid-season. The question is whether the Giants can afford to let him go without weakening their interior depth. Behind Dexter Lawrence and Roy Robertson Harris, you've got guys like Darius Alexander, Elijah Chapman, Jeremiah Ledbetter, and DJ Davidson, all making their cases. If two of those players prove they can hold the line, the Giants might make the tough financial call. This is where roster building gets cold. It's not always about who's better. Sometimes it's about dollars and cents. And as much as fans may hate it, this could be one of those times. Competition brings progress. Here's the bigger picture. These bubble debates prove something important. The Giants finally have real competition across the board. For years, cutdown day was predictable because the roster lacked depth. Now you've got legitimate NFL-caliber players fighting for every last spot. That's how winning teams are built. Iron sharpens iron. Competition forces guys to elevate their game, and it gives coaches better options when injuries happen. It's not fun to watch fan favorites get cut, but it's a sign that the Giants are moving in the right direction. Final thoughts. This year's roster cutdown day might be the most fascinating Giants fans have seen in a decade. Whether it's Dante Turbo Miller's fight for the final running back slot, Jalin Hyatt's quest to prove he still belongs, the tight end logjam, Joshua Ezeudu's case for development, or the tough financial call with Raheem Nunez-Roches, every decision has ripple effects that could shape the 2025 season. And let's not lose sight of the big picture. This is exactly what progress looks like. The Giants aren't scrambling to fill spots anymore. They're arguing over which talented players to keep. That's a very good problem to have. So buckle up, Giants fans. Cutdown day is coming fast, and no matter how it shakes out, one thing is certain. This team is stronger, deeper, and more competitive than it's been in years. And that should have every fan excited for what lies ahead this season.